it safe so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I love it so much. I love that theme song. So perfect. So short, so sweet. Says so much stuff going on. You always like hear those theme songs where it's like they have. I think they've done it with Friends. I know Big Bang Theory is another one, um, where the theme song's actually extended. You know, it's like a song. It's like crazy. Like you hear it on the radio. You're like, what the hell? And you're used to like, I'll be there for you, and then like the song ends, but then it keeps going. Anyway, welcome back to Rob's Arcade. I am your host, Rob French, and I will not make the promise that the theme song won't actually be a full song one day. Who knows? We could write out the full thing. Thanks for hanging out. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Mr. Rob French. Go ahead, hit that share button, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hop down in the comment section as we go ahead and kick this off. If you're a first-time offender, please, first time here, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Give you a chance to go back and peruse some of the videos we've already uploaded. If you are first time, here on this channel, it's basically just a lot of comic books, video game stuff. This is one of my favorite things to do, where I just kind of hang out here in like a GTA type environment, kind of like a talk show, and just, kind of catch up with things. I am going on about 4 years sober now. I haven't had any alcohol in, I don't know, close to 4 years. Gave up cigarettes. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been like no looking back. And one of the things I've enjoyed about having these this clear lens, if you will, is going back and watching movies and playing games and things that I used to do while under, the influence. I remember when I first started doing some of these things, I would actually try to catch a little bit of a buzz before I even started these videos. Excuse me, I am I am drinking some coffee. But I would do like a little shot or two as I was like getting ready to do a video, just to kind of loosen up and get in the groove, and then a couple of more. Sometimes I would go to like set up and go do something, and then the game wouldn't be ready, so I'm like, oh, let me kill it. By the time I actually get into it, I'd be pretty twisted. I'd have like another shot or two as I'm playing the game, and take a break and come back. And a lot of times as I'm getting into the game, and it's like most games don't even start for like 30, 40, sometimes it's an hour into before you really start getting into the meat of it. And as you're really getting into it, I start to find myself like heavily under the influence. So going back and playing games, sharing these things, sharing this content with you has been a lot of fun. And I've just really, really enjoyed it. And also just kind of going through and sharing like what's going on with me, what's been happening. Something I've also started doing back since, when I was giving up the whole alcohol thing. I found myself doing like little walks and testimonials just to try to get some thoughts and some things out in my own head. And then part of it was like, I've been doing all these videos and sharing all this stuff with you guys, not really being me, kind of like hiding who my true self was. And I realized like, I've been kind of like lying to you guys, if you will. Like, this isn't really me. This isn't who I am. Sorry, having some yogurt too. But yeah, I realized like it wasn't like who I am. And I've been kind of like wearing this mask, like kind of like hiding myself. And so I started like sharing that with you guys, because I was like, man, anybody who's been here, and it's not a huge following, I was like, anybody who's been here, who's been watching my show, who's been kind of like hanging out with me, playing these video games, it's all been a lie. It's all been fake. It's not real. It's not the real me. So it's like, let me go and share this and kind of explain this. And it hasn't always been like easy, and the stuff that people don't want to hear a lot of times, and stuff that I talk about is like kind of cliche. But at any rate, it helps. And I feel like there's always something going on in my life that's worth kind of sharing and highlighting. over the few months, if you have been hanging out with me and kind of keeping up, you realize like a lot of things been happening as far as like my career goes. I used to work for the YMCA, doing a lot of like teen programming, uh, a lot of stuff with after school, and then really anything they needed in general, like work membership. Basically, the only thing I didn't really tackle was anything that had anything to do with like water, pool, kind of a thing. But summer camps, after school, uh, even working out, like the workout room, the wellness floor, um, like every aspect really, I kind of helped out and chipped in. I really loved what I did, but a little over a year ago, things started to kind of change, and they were talking about this realignment and where their direction was going and what their vision was for the next 5 years. And I was kind of explaining, like, how it was one, it was kind of like a relief in a sense because the teen programs and some of the way they had that stuff run, it was just like such a mess. And there did need to be some sort of like an alignment and some kind of like restructuring to how like the whole thing was run, because it was just kind of a mess on a day to day, week to week kind of standard. But the realignment made me fall into a whole different department, and I enjoyed what I was doing with that, but it was tough. It wasn't as easy to God, I'm trying to like to see like the rewards, like working with youth, working with people, you kind of see it. When I was doing the membership thing, a lot of numbers, a lot of trackers, a lot of we'll see what our work does in a month. Where what I was doing before, I could see it right there. I could put together an event, go home that night and go, wow, that was really great. I could have a meeting or do something with the teens and go, wow, that was really cool. With this, it was like always waiting a month, like waiting and seeing like what the results were for our hard work and what we did and yada yada and blah blah blah. And it was one, it was a little frustrating, but two, I noticed like a lot of the things that I was in it for was starting to disappear. And back in, I guess, the beginning of May, I lost my job with the Y. And if you want that whole story, the video is in here. I loaded that story, the whole piece of what went down. As far as what I know, is already up, but it turned out, I think, to be like a blessing in disguise. And it's been one of those things, like, it's been kind of heartbreaking. It involves more of a friend turning on me and somebody like, kind of like breaking my heart, like, and not like in a lover's quarrel or like a breakup, kind of more of a, I consider this person a friend. I thought that, our relationship, it was special, but again, like as a friendship, as just being there for somebody, and they completely like stab me in the back, and that hurts. Like, that's heartbreaking, and that's like something I'm still not quite able to like really process. Like, it's still like I look at it from time to time. I don't sit there and dwell on it all day, but even now, as we're getting ready to break through June, and hit into July, it's like, I'm still finding myself like throughout the day going like, what happened with, like, where did that go sour? Like, I cannot wrap my head around it. I was watching a crazy movie the other day, and it was like about like a crazy woman scorned and like turning on this guy and like, seeking revenge on his girlfriends and destroying his car and all this stuff. And I was like, that I kind of get. And it made me think of the situation. I was like, he kind of like, he led her on and was kind of like, he should have set the ground rules. Like, I was like, I never did. Anyway, so I lost the job, and it turned out to be like a blessing in disguise. Like, I wasn't really upset about the job. I've lost jobs before. I enjoyed what I did. And I was kind of heartbroken about like just the community aspect of it. And like, I knew it would have like ramifications not just for me, but like, like again for the kids and the people that I work with and the old folks and all of this. Um, but I know I'd find another job and I would move on. But as I have, I tell you what, I'm starting to think more so that it was really like a blessing in disguise. I talked about like being yourself and being able to be who you are, and it was tough. Like going through May, I tried to distract myself with friends and video games and going out and doing things to try to keep my mind off of it because it was again, you know, and I was kind of like, as I was talking with people and hanging out with friends and stuff, and like, they're saying, well, like, enjoy yourself, like, don't stress, like, and I'm like, I'm not trying to, I'm trying to enjoy. It got hard to get up, you go eat and do whatever, and then it's like, well, I got some time before work. Let me go play some like video games. But you kind of feel guilty. It's like, I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, I don't have a job, and like da 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 da. And like, it was hard. I don't understand. Like some people I know, like they lose a job, they just start like drinking and they don't do anything. They just like sit around the house all day, and I don't know. Just like that blows my mind. I felt guilty. I was like, it's like, and kind of like I earned this money. Like I don't take vacation time. I don't really ever take like sick time. Like I'm pretty reliable, and I don't take a lot of time off from work. I don't have like a family and stuff where I need like to take all these vacations and whatnot. So that was kind of like my vacation. And even once I got my new job, I was like, I should be able to like come home from work, pop on some video games, watch a movie, read some comics or something. Laundry, just clean my room for once. Just any of these little things that I've always like, I need to get done. And I never had like the time or the mindset or the energy. And then as I got into like these new hours and this new shift and this new job, I got home and it was like, what do I do with myself in this time and all this energy? It was insane. And I started to realize it was kind of like when I was working overnight for so long, like I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was great. But I don't think you kind of realize like what you're missing out on and what, everybody was like, are you gonna be okay going back to working days and all this? Like, I'll be fine. I've worked days before. It's not a big deal. And they're like, well, but you haven't done it like 10, 15 years. I'm like, it'll be fine. It was so weird. It was such a change I was not ready for. It was very different. I remember like traffic was different. Shopping was different. I'm used to shopping when people are asleep or late at night. There was a time people when like Walmart before COVID and everything was open like 24 hours and like most stores were open till like 11 o'clock midnight. It's like it was a pretty common thing. Now it's hard to find a store that's open past like 10. But yeah, back in the day, I'd do my shopping at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So everything was different, like holiday shopping. It was all very different. And the moment I stepped into like the daytime world, I was like, what is this? And it's like, you don't even realize what you're missing. You're just so caught up in it. You're so wrapped up in your day to day. And since I've had this new position, this new job, I found myself like comparing it almost to like eating healthy. And my job had so many different facets and was so encompassing before. Like, even if I wasn't, I was doing the teen thing. It was very distractible because like I would get home, try to unplug and disconnect from work. And I would have like parents and people and everyone emailing me for the next day and the next week. And it would never fail. I had like a day that I would send out emails to all the parents. I would get home and I'd be getting all these questions. And it's just like, I'm just trying to play video games. I'm trying to hang out. I'm trying to do this. I'd go do one program and I've got kids and teens from another program bothering me while I'm trying to do one thing into another. It was a lot. It was crazy. It was stressful. It was a ton. And, I found myself once I got out of that, like having more free time and being able to relax a little bit more, but there was still like a lot to what I was doing and to my job, and I wasn't answering as many questions and getting as many responses. But I found myself like getting home from work and never getting off on time or early like I told myself I will, because I stayed 2 hours late the earlier the week, and now I gotta let me try to leave 2 hours early today, or at least an hour, and then I'd wind up staying at least a half an hour later, and it was always a lot. And even though I did find myself having more free time, I would get home, and even if I wasn't answering emails or like doing, I would still be thinking about, oh shoot, tomorrow I got this meeting. And then I go look at my calendar. It's like, oh crap, I got like 3 meetings back to back. Well, let me make sure I got my lunch planned out. I got to have this done. And then got to make sure that blah, blah, blah. Then you get into your day and none of it goes right. So then, you get home and you're thinking about, oh shoot, I didn't get that done. I didn't talk to this person. I know they're going to reach out to me tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I got to do a podcast on Wednesday. Shit. And how do you relax? Like even that, just me just saying that, it's just like, what the fuck? Who lives like that? Right. And it's like, how do you get home and just unplug and watch Friends when you can't? You're counting jelly beans for the sixth, seventh time because some asshole stuck his hands in the jelly bean jar, even though there's like signs all over it. Don't eat the candy for a contest. Guess how many? It's like, and this is the stupid shit I would have to deal with. And I can just come home and watch Ballerina or watch a movie on HBO. Or it's like I got to deal with some asshole who can't come in. So now I got to like come home, eat real quick, run back, work out, and then help them close down. It was too much. It was a lot. And people notice because one of the things in my new job, I see people from the Y all the time. And that's the number one thing they say. And I don't trigger any of it. I don't lead the conversation. We'll just be talking and I'm like, oh, well, I enjoy this a lot more. And this is a great fit. And like, I've been really happy. And the first thing out of their mouth is probably like, oh, well, or the first thing out of their mouth is like, well, you probably have like an actual, like, like a personal life or like a social life, or they're like, they'll say something like that. And I don't really have like a huge social life or personal life. I don't really do a lot, but my free time is more enjoyable. They're 100% right. Like, I do feel like I have more of a life outside of a job, and it's crazy. It's almost like comparable to my separation when I was going through that and like getting up in the morning and like, okay, well, I don't have to make coffee for two and breakfast for two and walk the dog and go get this done and go get that done and da 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 da. My mornings are pretty much mine to do, what I want to do with. And so it becomes like, okay, well then who am I? What do I like to do? And I've been able to like, I'm like playing games with people. I was like playing like just different friends and things that they can tell like, dude, what's up? Like you seem, I'm like, I just feel more like myself. I feel more energetic. I feel better. I feel like, I can like and enjoy my comics again and my time off and just reading and writing and just, all of those things. Like, it's insane like how much more I feel like myself, and then too, like, God, I remember, working at the Y, like, it just be, everything was like you couldn't do anything. Everything was a question. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? And why is that? And not just from the people that you work with or work for or work around, but like the members who would come in, they want to, like, you would wear a tie, like, well, why are you wearing it? I guess I can't because I want to, and it's just like where I work now, nobody cares about like what I do or question or, like, to each his own. And there's like, you know, do you kind of a thing, and you do you kind of an attitude with everybody, as long as you're doing your job and doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like, nobody gives a shit if I'm like, eating Cheetos with chopsticks or something. It's just like they just let me do my thing. And they all seem to kind of have like a lot of the same similar interests. Like, there's a lot of like people who like games and anime and manga, and we have Pokemon cards there, and it's just like there's a definite core nerd Rob element to this new position in this new job. I don't have to bring comic books to work. There are comic books at work, and It's one of those things too. Like I was talking, with the guy I used to work with, because I think it's like one of those things. Like I said, kind of compared to like eating clean. Like you eat junk food all the time, and then all of a sudden you start eating like chicken and um, like you're eating like Big Macs and you're eating like whatever French fries and stuff all the time. And all of a sudden it's like salads and chicken and grilled steak, and you start to feel better, right? Like you start like, oh man, I got more energy. I don't feel like so blah. And it's kind of the same thing. Like it's just like eating junk food 6 days a week. Sometimes 7 days a week, and now it's like I feel better. I feel like, oh man, this is like it's so nice. It's so amazing. And it kind of again like goes into like I was talking about before, like being sober and kind of getting back to who I was before I started drinking, and trying to remember like, well, what was Rob about, and like what, and it's a really I actually like it's kind of like a rejuvenate, and but like a rejuvenile kind of an aspect to it. A lot of people need to like recharge, refresh, uh, rejuvenate, to kind of like get out of a funk maybe, or um, kind of like shake off, some depression or whatever that looks like. Um, and so you kind of like, you maybe take a vacation, or you break away, or you just unplug for a little while, and you just kind of like, recharge. I remember like again going back to like my separation, like trying to remember like when was I my happiest. And I was like talking about this again the other day, like that 13, 14. I was playing some Mortal Kombat with a friend, and there's just something about that age, man, in that time of like Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, hanging out with my friends, eating pizza, playing Sega CD and stuff. And it was like girls were an aspect of my life. It wasn't all encompassing, and it was really like my happiest time, man. Like that was, I think, that like 14-year-old Rob was like peak Pearl Jam, CDs, girls were cute, boys were fun, and whenever I kind of um, would kind of get into a funk, like I try to like go back and like what made Rob happy. Let's put on a cool movie, let's put on something from the '90s, let's read some Image comics, and just kind of go back to that time period where like you know what made me who I am. And as I've dove into that, I really find that it's the comic books, it's the manga, it's those little things that really do make me happy, and they're always there for me. It's like, friends again can come and go. People will stab you in the back. Girls will ask you, me or PlayStation 5, and it's always going to be PlayStation 5. It's always going to be those things, because those things are always there for you, right? It's like right now I'm actually putting away comics and kind of like organizing these things, and it's like a great way to start my day. I absolutely love it. It's amazing. um it's one of those things that like it it's always been here for me, and it's never gone away, and whenever I need it, it's right here. And like just being able to collect comics, play games, it's just amazing. Like I said, just waking up this morning before I start my day, eating some yogurt, getting a chance to hang out with you guys, drinking some coffee, and just putting away, you know, um, my comic book collection and stuff. It's amazing. And then I'll go in, I'll do my job, I have a great time, I'll bust my ass, I'll help some people, and then I'll get to come home and relax and do it. It's really cool. There's no, and I think that's the way it should be. Like I think there's just like so much emphasis on like this perfection and like this image and this thing that like we kill ourselves for, and for what? Like a lot of my past job gripe was people coming in and expecting us to do things that isn't our job. And the only reason they were expecting those things was because it had been built into our culture that no matter what people ask for, we just give them. We cater to them. We bend over backwards, and we do. And that shouldn't be the case. You know, do what you can. Do everything you can to help that person. But you shouldn't make them feel like a piece of crap because they can't figure out how to reset your Apple Watch. You know what I mean? And that's not our job. That's not what we were there for. And it's a lot of places are like that. Like they expect you to do more and go above and beyond, or you know, you have supervisors who are scared to death to um, show any cracks of what it might make the company look like and how it might make them look bad. But it's like, you just be real. Like I was having this conversation the other day, and it's like, you know, uh, at my new job, and this person I'm working with, like we had the same like the same exact thought, and we're on the same page. It's like I used to work with people that would be scared to like, don't do this, or don't let them see that, don't let them see this, don't let them see it, let them know what's going on. They're investing in us. They're like putting money into us, or they're going to be the ones that are going to help us with problems. But they can only help us if they see these problems. And we were talking about this at work the other day, and it's like, yeah, don't like, oh, if you got, oh, there's a visitor coming. All right, well, let them come. Let them see what we're doing, and then don't change. Don't bust your ass for a week trying to showboat and showcase like this imaginary thing that you have going on, only so that way when they leave and you go back to normal, it's like, oh, why are you struggling? Like, no, let them see all the cracks. Let them see everything that's going on. Be completely true to who you are. Show it all. And that's what this whole thing is about, man. This is what this whole channel's about. Anyway, it's been cool. I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna probably do another piece. This is um, going to be shot and put on for Monday. But I wanted to get a few things out, just kind of catch up and talk about just how everything is going and just how much I'm enjoying everything right now. And hope you guys are as well. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great week. And don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of each other. And until next time, don't spend that quarter anywhere else. Peace out.